121 Talk.
It's Elondious. You got to be more careful.
You can say what you want to say.
Elondious. You got to be more careful.
How are you?
I'm good.
I forgot to say what I usually say.
I thought I was waiting too. And we're back.
Which is, okay, you said it. Okay, you say it.
And we're back.
And we're back.
Yes, we are.
We are back for a new episode, a new podcast. I think this is number 15, something like that.
Baby, you always get mixed up. It's 16.
No, you mixed up this time. It's
No.
15. How much you want to bet?
It's 16 because we got two 13s up there.
Well, by number, it's 15.
Okay.
So I probably got two named the same thing or something like that.
Well, they're not named the same. They just named the same episode.
Is you trying to come at me
Nah,
on
babe.
a recording?
Nah.
Yeah, I think you
Ain't
are.
nothing like that.
You know, because I noticed, you're starting to get a little, Hollywood.
Hollywood.
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
Boy, you better go on with that mess.
Hollywood.
You better go on.
Go on. Wow.
Go.
Oh,
Go on.
Did I turn my phone on Do Not Disturb? Because
I don't know.
you know how it do. Because I'll be getting them calls and stuff and all that crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
So we are officially, definitely in the new studio.
In the studio.
We are here. We got our red light going. I might
Well,
ask.
it's more pink.
Well, it's more pink, right? But, we got the thing right here, but we can change it.
Yeah, we do.
We got all of that going on. Plus, with this one, there, with the video that I'm adding or added to the front, it give people a chance to see where we're at. How you like that there?
I like that.
All right.
All right now.
All right.
Come on.
All
Come
right.
on.
All right.
Oh, okay.
So
I got carried away.
this show today, because the way that I move and what kind of like dictates me is always, I've always been an electronic junkie,
A tech junkie?
a tech junkie. So the name of this episode is Technically Family,
Oh, okay.
because that's all that matters to me. Technically family.
Okay.
Tech and family. Tech
Tech
and family.
and family.
Yeah, I ain't got time for all that other stuff. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
all right. I got that.
Tech and family. So how's in the past 2 weeks that we haven't recorded, how's things going for you?
Things going good.
Things going good?
Yeah.
Anything?
I got called up at work.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Woo.
Oh, you got caught up at work.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So,
Because I was struggling.
anything else? Now, I would hit you with the TikTok right now, but
I moved my office.
Oh, yeah, we set up the
I got a real office.
the basement room.
The extra storage space,
room.
the little,
So, yeah.
when
Yeah.
I signed the paperwork for the house, they said it's a surprise room
Okay. Well, the surprise room is now Elondious' office.
and craft room.
Elondious' office and craft room.
Yes.
We still got some little finishing touches to do in there.
Right,
but,
right.
But we'll be straight.
Yeah, we
We'll
will.
be straight. All right. Anything else? Nothing? Like anything in the news?
In the news.
Yeah.
I feel like you're trying to pull me somewhere.
You know I am.
So,
I'm around the corner watching you going. I'm going to jump out on you.
So in the news. So what's in the news? What's been in the news that's been prevalent?
Prevalent. What's in the news that's been
That's prevalent. Dave Chapelle.
Dave Chapelle. What about Dave Chapelle?
That's what's been in the news.
Dave Chapelle.
The closer.
The closer. The
Right.
stand-up he did on Netflix, which we watched it the first day it came out.
Right.
What'd you think about the stand-up?
I mean, it wasn't all funny
Okay.
because I think that he was combining comedy with actually telling the story, his own story about experiences that he had with the LGBTQ community.
Right. Right.
So there was some funny things in there, but I mean, basically he was speaking his truth.
Okay.
And that's like, and not just with that community, I'm gonna say that's with anybody. When people say, oh, you're bullying me or something, something and whatever, but then when they get a little power, they do the same thing to other people that was done to them. So how can you be mad about somebody, you know what I'm saying? But he wasn't, I don't even know. It's
like they initiate what they call today, they call it cancel culture. And so if you're saying something that they don't agree with, they want to shut you down. But the reason I'm sort of steering toward this conversation is, do you think that's right?
No, I don't think it's right. If it's something that's harmful or detrimental
Right.
to your personal well-being,
Right.
then okay. But if it's someone speaking their truth and then they didn't say anything harmful to you, about you, or anything like that, because they basically just spoke their truth. And
so are you saying he didn't say anything direct aimed at someone? He was just speaking of his general truth.
Right, his experience, because he talked about his friend that was trans, and the fact that she stuck up for him, and because she stuck up for him, then everybody started in that community started going. I'm not gonna say everybody, people in that community started going after her to the point where she committed suicide because the feedback she was getting was so harsh.
And you remember we just looked at something on YouTube the other day where they actually interviewed a guy that's actually a gay comedian.
Right.
And he kind of verified, yeah, that lady was cool. She was like that.
He personally knew her, and he said that everything that Dave Chapelle said about her was true. He's like, that's who she is. That's who she was.
And he also said that she was very grateful for the opportunity that Dave gave her.
Right.
So when I look at that stand-up, the closer, I mean, for me, Dave has always been comedy versus, like, you know, one of my favorite jokes that he said back in the day was when the whole R. Kelly thing was going down. And he said, the question is how old is 15? You know, and the thing that hit home for me, he said, I don't know about you, but at 15, I knew whether or not I wanted to be pissed on. Right? And it's comedy, but it's a reality to it. You know what I mean?
It makes you think.
Yeah, it makes you think.
It makes you think.
Because like he said, this one guy does a wrestling move in Florida, and he is tried as an adult at 15 years old.
Right.
So also,
and it's mostly black men, black young
right.
boys.
And that's the point he was driving home.
They get tried at 15 and be sentenced to
an
adult prison instead of going to juvenile.
Right.
But
so it's like they pick and choose.
Yeah, they pick and choose. And the same thing with what Dave was saying is
a difference.
The minority.
Yeah.
Like this community is a minority, but they have gotten a lot of power in the past couple of years.
Yeah. I remember.
And we still trying.
I remember talking to a friend of mine, and I can't phrase it, you know, like we would say it off mic. But he said, you know, a lot of things are getting done, you know, in that realm because there are a lot of closets in D.C. That's the cleanest I can say it.
Right.
There's a lot of closets. So a lot of the laws or canceling people is because people in power can do that because of their status, whether it's a politician or whether it's this millionaire or whatever. But if you dig into their background, they on the low. Right. They in the closet.
I'm just saying, I just think it's something that we as Black people have been struggling, fighting, you know, everything to get rights that should be God-given rights, but we had to fight for them.
And then wait, so you're saying that the same thing Dave is saying, like there's a real minority group out here, but don't get treated properly? Are you saying that? Because I am. Right,
yeah. Right. It's not fair, you know? But I mean, we still go on and keep fighting and everything, but we still, it's just that they, like he said, they have amassed a lot of power in a short period of time. And here we are and we're still being treated a certain way and everything. So it's like, I don't have anything against the LGBTQ community.
You roll that off pretty well. You need a round of applause for that. Because
Yeah.
you roll that off.
I mean, I don't-
always mess it up. LGBTQ.
Yeah, I don't have
it.
anything against the community. I don't have anything against what that's your lifestyle. If that's your lifestyle, that's what you choose to live, then you live it. But why should I have to suppress or not speak my truth because you feel that my truth is offending your truth? I'm not telling you don't speak your truth. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
why can I not speak my truth?
So let me ask you this through your experience. I have experienced some things, but I think your experience really speaks to what we're talking about right now. So you joined the Army in 92, right?
Right.
The Guard before that, of course. You were in the Guard in 86,
85.
85. And then you went full-time in
92.
active. I said full-time.
Yeah.
You went active in 92. The climate changed from when you joined in 92, when you joined in 92 versus 2010, as far as sexual preference and stuff. Speak on that, like the climate change.
Well, when I first joined, of course, it was, no homosexuals in the military. You can't be openly homosexual in the military.
Right. So
then they went to the don't ask, don't tell.
That's okay. So when I was in, it was don't ask, don't tell.
Right. So the don't ask, don't tell, right? And then it's like, okay, it don't even matter anymore. They recognize same-sex marriages and everything. And that's cool. I don't have a problem with it because my thing is, I don't care what your sexual preference is, as long as I know that when we're downrange and we're in the mix, you got my 6, you got my 6, I got your 6. That's all that matters to me. I don't care about anything else.
Right.
It doesn't change who you are as a person. It doesn't change your who you are inside, how you treat people and everything like that. That doesn't matter at all. So, but what I didn't like about it is that now it's like they want you, if you're straight, a heterosexual, it's like now I'm being penalized for being a heterosexual because I got to think and treat this person a certain way because they are openly homosexual.
Right.
But the way I was treating them before was not bad because that's my battle. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. You're my battle. If you're my battle, you're my battle.
Right.
If we were in the same uniform, then I got your back, regardless if you lesbian, bisexual, whatever. But it's like they put
whatever your
regulations
sexual
in.
preference is, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
As long as someone gets the job done.
Get the job done.
Okay, so
it don't stop you from being a soldier.
Let's roll it forward so we can eventually get on our topic, which is, okay, now you have a transsexual that's in the military. Now you got to watch what you're saying to them. Something that you might have said to someone in the past, it could be taken as sexual harassment now. How do they do it as far as the bathrooms? And if someone is a transsexual, do you consider them a female? Or how do you do it? Pre-operation, let me say that. They don't have the operation, but they have said that I am a transsexual.
They identify as the opposite sex or what have you.
How did they handle that?
I retired in 2014, so they was really just getting into that then. So they was making the gender neutral bathrooms and stuff.
Okay.
But then I done did a brain dump on the military. So that was 6 years ago. So I think they had got to the point where if you identify as that sex, then you go to that sex bathroom. So I don't care. It don't matter to me. Use the bathroom. I done been down range.
Well,
I done share a tent. Female, males, whatever. Do what you got to do. Do what you got to do.
So 2 things. So what happens, and I don't know if, you heard anybody talking about this or anything. What happens when you have a trans that says, I can't do PT because I'm having that time of the month for me?
that don't make sense.
Right.
They can't say that.
If they try to claim that since they are trans, they want some of the female liberties that they may receive because they are female.
Well, I don't give liberties. When I was in the military,
Okay.
females didn't get liberties for that time of the month anyway.
Okay. Because I had read something where there was a trans that was trying to say that.
Oh, I don't know anything about that.
And because the awareness is so high right now, you just can't dismiss it. It's where I'm going. You just can't say, man, you a dude. Get out of here. You can't do that
Right,
anymore.
you can't do that. But
Right.
I don't know anything about that because, like I said, when I was in the military, being a female soldier is not going to come to me and tell me, oh, sorry, I can't do PT today because, I'm cramping or whatever. Okay. Then go to sick call.
Right.
Because if you cramping that bad, then something's wrong. So go to sick call, come back with something.
And do what you got to do.
Because, I'm a female too, so I be having those
Right.
problems also.
Right.
It got to the point where it was so bad, had to go have a hysterectomy. Hey, no cramps no more. I'm just saying.
Now, that was number one. Like I said, I'm leading into something that's actually the bigger issue I wanted to touch, but we have to go through that from Dave Chapelle to cancel culture to you got to be careful what you say. But what I want to do is take a looking glass and look even closer at something else, which is, I'm just asking, maybe someone listening, they might take this the wrong way, or somebody might go, I didn't think about that. But me and you have talked about it before. Is it me, or I might see a person that's transsexual, nothing wrong with that, but they are more female than a female? Have you ever noticed that?
I noticed that sometimes. It's funny sometimes when...
Don't hold back now. Don't do that.
It's funny sometimes when they I don't know if they think that's the way we act or if that's the way or the way they perceive us as acting.
Right.
But sometimes it's like, I know I don't act like that.
I'm not that loose with it.
Like,
right?
I don't know. There's times when I act and I might over exaggerate
like something
or what have you.
You may put your hands on your hip and when you're talking, but they'll put their hand on their hip.
And roll their necks and everything. And I'm like, I don't act like that.
that.
There's some females that do, but I just feel like that's over exaggerating. Like you're trying harder to display female attributes than what a regular female would.
And it gets to the point where
display.
it's the same thing opposite when you have a lesbian. Dominant is what they call it? A stud. I gotta be careful what I'm saying here.
Yeah,
see, I'm doing it now.
Because you went to S&M with the dominant now.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
don't know, but that's not my lane.
We ain't gonna talk about dominant and subs. We're talking about a stud.
But that's not my lane. You understand? That's not my lane.
Right.
So it's like if I'm sitting there talking physics,
right?
A physician, not a physician,
my goodness.
physiologist or whatever he's called.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Because he's so knowledgeable in that area, he can look and say, well, this guy's ignorant to terminology or whatever, but I'm not going to take it offensive. Well, it's different over here with this. So lesbian, okay, and you said stud. Right? Like, so I've seen studs that are more man acting or have more men characteristics than I do. And I'm sitting there going, is that the way you see me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's kind of different, and it makes you wonder. But you're handcuffed because you can't say anything.
Right, and it's not even that you're trying to say anything negative. Like you're just really curious and you just want to know.
Yeah. And
like
plus,
I just want to ask a question. Can I ask a question and get an honest answer? Like I'm not trying to put you down or anything, but I'm curious. It's just like with little children.
Plus, let me give you this example, then we're gonna move on.
Okay.
So let's say if I'm out and I'm driving and someone hits my car. And I'm upset because I figured this person was being negligent. I'm angry. When I get out that car, ain't no telling what's going to come out my mouth. You understand what I mean? We in a world right now where even at a point where you are angry and you just venting and saying it, you still got to be careful what you're saying.
You do.
For instance, somebody can hit me, and I can get out and go, yo, you stupid mother, and da 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 da. And then I might say, you be at, look, you banned. I call it a ban. I might say that. But somebody could be like, well, because of my preference and stuff like that, or I felt a certain way because they call me a B. It could happen. Or
I ain't think about that.
Oh yeah, it can happen. The last few jobs I had, you had to be careful. It is just not about what you're saying. You could, say like I could walk in here and go, yo, that t-shirt look right on you. And then you could process it like I'm coming at you in a crazy way. You tell the boss, next thing you know, sexual harassment. It's the same thing I would have said to a guy like, yo, you rocking that t-shirt, that look good on you, bro. But if I said it to you, how you thinking and whatever else, you could process that differently and say, oh, I feel offended, right? So take that and multiply it by 5 when it comes down to a person that has a different sexual, gay. I'm just going to say gay. You can't talk the way you usually talk. You have to monitor what you're saying and how you're saying it, which is not fair.
I think but that depends on that person, though.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
And that's with everything.
But sometimes you get away with it. And sometimes when you're just coasting and being normal, boom.
Right.
Like, yo, I didn't say anything.
Right.
So you got to be careful with that.
Yeah.
But that's been in the front of my brain and in the news. And I just figured we should talk about that. For the record, I think that the community that's going after Dave Chapelle, I think they got 2 choices.
What's that?
Don't watch the show, right? Or realize it's not really personal like you're making it out. He's trying to tell you something in regards to Black people and yourselves. Like, we didn't touch the whole, you are a LGBTQ, whatever you are, until something go down, then you white LGBTQ. It's a difference between white and Black, but we ain't gonna touch that one.
Okay.
We're gonna leave that alone because your face is looking like, yo, where are you going with this?
No, I'm just, we don't want to. No, go ahead.
We don't want to what?
We just don't want to take up the whole show with this because this is not our main topic.
You know what's cool about it though? This 8121 talk.
I know it is.
We can do what we want to do.
I be thrown off though. I be having my mind set on one thing, and then you throw me a curveball, and it be something different. You be trying to make me think on my feet.
Because I wanted to be spontaneous, just as
it definitely is spontaneous.
Just like if we sitting in the garage talking.
Yeah.
Like today, I came to you and I said, a place to stay. You away from the elements, rain, cold. You don't remember me saying that? It came out of nowhere. We were coming from Burger King.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was thinking in my mind all the times that I have went without, and I'm in a position where I can create it. That's how I think.
Right.
That's how I talk. You know what I'm talking about?
All over the place.
Give Al a round of applause.
all over the place
round
too.
Of applause. Okay, Al.
Go ahead, Al.
All right. So, technically family. What do I mean by that?
What do you mean?
Ever since I was a kid, I always wanted something technology driven.
Okay.
And of course, technology is different today than it was back then. But I always
in their early 70s and the 70s and the early 80s.
I ain't having it in the early 70s, but late 70s. I probably was.
You had Knock'em Sock'em. What was that? Knock'em Sock'em Robot. What was that? What was that thing?
Listen to me carefully.
Okay.
Rock'em Sock'em Robot.
That's what I said. Rock'em Sock'em Robot.
I guarantee you, if they rewind this, they're gonna hear you say Knock'em Sock'em.
I did not say Knock'em. I said Rock'em.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well,
anyway,
we have our little 7, 8 listeners. They heard it. They heard it. So yeah.
Don't make me cry about my 7, 8 listeners. No, go ahead.
The post.
The post you put yesterday that was funny.
Yeah. But I don't consider Rock'em Sock'em. I don't consider that technology.
Okay.
Right. I'm talking technology like something that's it runs on power and it's able to help you to achieve or do something that you may not be able to do physically through a screen or something like that, right? I've always been a fan of that.
Okay.
And I was thinking like, why?
Yeah, why?
Because I'm the only child. So a lot of that technology served as my brother or my sister or my playmate or, something to do when my mom's is not there. Because sometimes even when she was there, she would hit me with the Abba Jr.,
Right.
if you don't sit your ass down somewhere or get out my face, I don't want to do that. I don't care. So going to my head-to-head football game was like, I could play, I could escape, I can get into another world. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's my origin of it. Anything you want to ask me about it? Because I don't want to just keep talking.
That's your origin of technology. So when did the technology go from like the games and stuff to escape to tying in with your love of music?
Wow. I think it had to be around 8 tracks. Because there was nothing technological about 8 tracks to me. But I always had the question, which was, why do I have to listen to this number 2 on track 1? And in order to hear it again, I got to go down to track 4 and come back to the beginning of track 1 and listen to that again. The 8 track we had couldn't rewind, is what I'm saying. I know they came up with them later. But for me, that was like, as far as music goes, I want to hear that song over and over and over, or I want to rewind it or whatever. I couldn't do that.
Not with 8 tracks, but with records.
Okay. I wasn't allowed
Oh, yeah, that's
to
right.
touch
I know.
the records.
I don't even know what I'm thinking about because when we was young, you do not put your hand
on the record.
On the records.
Right.
Because if you scratch those records, oh my goodness.
And you know what?
It's over with.
Putting your hands on the record means nothing. A scratch is a scratch. Like if it touching an abrasive surface or your fingernail, yeah. But your actual fingerprints or touching it,
right?
It doesn't do anything.
But you know how you used to put the record on and you trying to place the needle on there just right, and then you drop the needle on there and then it goes.
You know why you drop the needle? Because you got bad nerves. Because your mother's telling you don't do it. So
and then they be like, "Are you scratching my record?"
Right. You shaking like, oh my God, like oh. But yeah, so 8 tracks was there, and then right after that, when cassettes came out, oh my God, I can rewind.
You could stop it.
I can stop it. I can rewind it. Well, you can stop 8 tracks, but now I can rewind. I can go forward, and then they came out with the apps system where the tape was it will detect space. So
the apps
APSS, I think it was. So you can play a song, and then if you want to go too forward, you could like choose. I think it's 2 clicks on the box. So there's space in between each song. So it would go 1 space, 2 space. Okay, you want to be here. Bang.
Right.
And then they came out with the cassettes that where you could play it, and it had a dual side motor. So it could flip it over and play the other side without you having to take it out. Right?
Yeah, I remember that. Right. So, but I'm trying to remember you said you click the button and you go. I don't remember that.
Yeah, it could skip 2 songs or 3 songs.
I think that.
on my box, which I got from, what's the name of that place downtown? Was it Lorches? No. The jewelry store used to be right there. I think
it was Lorches.
Okay, I'm getting lost. Okay, Broad. Ah, man. What's the street? Well, the clubs are on in Selma.
Water?
Is that water?
No, not Water.
Selma? Or is it?
I don't even remember.
Well, it's on the corner of Broad and one of those streets. Okay, On Time Fashion.
Okay.
Remember that place? Go up to Broad. Walk up toward Broad. The jewelry store is right there.
Right there. Okay.
What was that? Lorches?
Is that Alabama?
I don't know what street it is, but what's the name of the jewelry store? But anyway,
I thought it was Lorches.
Okay, it might have been.
That sounds like that.
I know it wasn't Zell's or nothing.
No. I think it was Lorches.
So I had got a box out of there.
We have to get our Selma peeps to weigh in on that. Was that jewelry store named Lorches?
Was that jewelry store? You know what? I'm bugging
Let
out.
us know.
I'm bugging out. I did not get that box from there.
Okay.
I got the box from Skinner's Furniture.
Skinner's. Now I know about Skinner's.
Skinner's,
but I think that jewelry store was named Lorches.
Okay, but
y'all let us know. Let us know.
Skinner is around there somewhere. So I got that box and I was infatuated with it. And going to the 7th grade, during the 7th grade year, there was a Christmas break, and it got stolen.
Oh wow!
So
you was heartbroken.
Yeah, that's another show though. But it was on top of my component set, and it got stolen. And man, I used to go to sleep at night and look at the box, not play it, just look at it.
Right.
So my other accompanying pieces were the box, a alarm watch. And it played Yellow Rose of Texas. Is it? Yellow Rose of Texas, whatever that was. I had the little things, right? The one ear earbud that you put into the recorder. Remember those little tape recorders where you push record and play?
Right.
They were flat with the arm on it. Right. All that was gone.
They stole all that?
All of that.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, wow. Even though my clothes were gone too, that wasn't the issue.
You didn't care about the clothes.
Right. And also Prince 1999 album.
Oh, wow.
Gone. So I'm pretty much depressed, which pushed me into saying, I'm about to use some of my mother records.
Uh-oh.
So I took the component set and started trying to scratch on it.
You scratched on her records?
Not good. It didn't turn out good at first.
But
I think I was so persistent with it that she finally just said, yo, check this out. Whatever. Just get your own records.
So, scratching on the records.
Yeah.
On her records. The records that we already done talked about in past episodes that you would get up and listen to Saturday morning and clean the house and everything.
Right. Luther Vandross, Never Too Much. Bunch of James Ingram records. Quincy Jones. I'm scratching these records.
I know she got you when you did James Ingram.
I was, was it 100 Ways? I was just, if just figure 100 ways. And back then, it was a direct drive or belt drive. I don't know what type of turntable it was, but it don't have the torque. So when you scratch, it's like, instead of, like jibba jibba 100, it'll go jibba jibba 100. But I didn't care.
Right.
So the next phase was I got a component set from my Uncle Alfred because he was saying, your mama need her stuff, but I never gave hers back.
Why?
So because I wanted to make a set of turntables. So what I did was, if you remember the component set, it has the radio and an 8-track or a cassette in the front panel part.
Right.
And the record player sits on top.
Right.
Well, there are 4 screws on the top. So if you take those screws out and you lift it up, it's only 2 wires.
Okay.
2 wires. One wire is an RCA jack, the red and the white. And then one wire is actual power. So what I did was I took tape, cut an extension cord, and added the plug on to one of the wires. And I had this mic mixer, not a DJ mixer.
What's a mic mixer?
So you see how this board is? It's like, but a mic, a turntable mixer, like we got over here behind us, has a crossfader. Take the crossfader off.
Okay.
So all you could do from channel 1, 2, 3, 4 is control the mic volume.
Okay.
So what I did was I took those RCA jacks and plugged them into that, and I turned the mixer sideways so that I can act like it's a crossfader.
Right.
But I had an individual crossfader for each one. So I put those turntables in a milk crate and took tape and taped it around to hold them steady. That was my first set of turntables.
Your first set of turntables.
Yeah, that's pretty ingenuity. What you think?
Yes.
Ingenuity.
Yes.
But I had to get it. Right? But that's where it started at.
Okay.
I'm gonna let you take over a little bit.
I don't know. I don't even know what to say to go from there. It's like you put some turntables on a milk crate.
That's all I had. I was steady copying what I thought everybody else was doing. But us being in Selma, Alabama, I mean, who has techniques?
When you say everybody else, you mean like everybody in the city, in New York, or just
On TV.
Just on TV.
On
Okay.
TV,
Okay.
like you see a party, like on a TV show and stuff, and it's like, wow, this guy got 2 turntables and a mixer. Okay, let me find out how much that costs. Now, keep in mind, it's not like today where you can go on the internet and go, Techniques 1200.
Right.
You have to ask around. And it was this guy named John Henry, lived next door to me. I said, hey, how much turntables cost? Yeah, $600-700.
It's like, I'm going to make these.
Money ain't gonna happen.
Right.
It ain't gonna happen.
Right. Okay, so when you made your turntables, right?
Right.
You got it straight where you could use it. What was the first song, the first record that you scratched on once you got your own records?
Once I got my own records, it's kind of weird. That's a tough question for me because I was doing so much with a single turntable and trying to emulate scratching that it's kind of blurred when I finally got that 2 setup I made. But there was a song by Steady B called Use Me.
Who is Steady B?
Oh, wow. LL Cool J made a song called Radio. Steady B made an answer to it called I Took Your Radio. He had a song called Bring the Beat Back. He has a song called Use Me, where they use Maze, where they go boom, 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 before I let go. Right? So his DJ is scratching, before. I used to copy that over over and over. And my mother used to be like, I'm sorry, I got to say it like this. My mother would be like, man, if you don't turn that shit down, I don't want to hear that damn rubbing and all that. I don't want to hear that.
Right.
But she go in the room, I just turn it down a little bit.
And keep doing.
Now, keep in mind that when I was doing it, there was no crossfader. So I'm doing this scratching with the volume. So I need you to imagine this.
Yeah.
So in order for you to hear it, I got to go to the highest volume.
Right.
So it's low high. It's and she's like, yo. Like, what are you doing? But yeah, that. And then I think the first doubles I got, 2 of the same record, but 2 turntables, had to be the entire Run DMC Raising Hell album. Yeah, those, like, because, what was on that album? Of course, Peter Piper was on there.
Yeah.
Peter Piper, You Be Ill and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, those were the first, and that was actually the first mixtape I ever made, which was a mixture of Run DMC and Houdini, going back and forth with those songs. I had no scheme. I had no plan on how I'm going to do this mixtape. It's just the fact that I can record myself and hear it. You understand what I'm saying?
So when you do the mixtape, you're using the turntables. How are you recording it?
Okay. Great question.
Let's
go back.
Okay.
You remember the tape recorder I asked you about that you had to press record and play, and they sit flat on the table? So on those, you had an earphone jack, and you also had all you had was an earphone jack, right? But some of the more advanced ones had an input, but this one only had an earphone jack. So the way I was recording my mixtape was to strictly set it next to the speaker and push record and play. And then do whatever I do on the turntables, and I'm recording it out in the open.
Okay.
As if someone's dictating to a microphone.
Right.
Which was really cheesy. It was really cheesy, but
it worked.
Yeah, but you got the love for it, and to hear yourself on tape is amazing. Because I'm not listening to WTQX.
Right.
I'm not listening to, what was the station in Prattville? WQIM. I'm not listening to Win. This is me.
Right.
Right? And there were times when I tried to talk. So if you imagine, I got the tape recorder next to the speaker.
Right.
And I'm over here on the turntables, which is like maybe a foot away. And I'm playing this, yo, y'all ready for this song? Creating the whole world.
Right.
Creating the whole world. And the crazy thing about it was I had no desire to do it for someone.
You just was doing it for yourself.
It just made me so complete that I didn't even care about, do I need to show this person that I'm nice? I didn't care about that.
Right.
Right? Which,
So it was for your own self-satisfaction.
and it always has been.
Mm-hmm.
It always has been. Sometimes it kicks me in the butt
Mm-hmm.
because I'll see somebody, let's be honest right here, and I'm like, my man, you ain't been doing this long enough. You got a long way to go.
Right.
But they walking around talking like they're the truth.
Because they cater to what other people want to hear.
And I'm saying, boy, I will take you
right
there, out in the deep water, and leave you to drown.
Right.
But sometimes I feel that way, and then some days I don't care.
Okay.
Right? But yeah, but technology, man.
Technology.
Yeah. It went into other areas.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the whole breakdancing thing. You know, people. You know, usually when I speak to someone that know me from back in the day, they would say breakdancing. They will bring that up.
Mm-hmm.
But breakdancing was only a piece of it.
Right.
I know you have a question to ask me about the pillars.
Right. The pillars. What are the pillars? The pillars of hip hop.
Right. So there's breakdancing,
Mm-hmm.
there's graffiti,
Mm-hmm.
there's rapping,
Mm-hmm.
and there's DJing.
Right. But for you, it's always been the music first and then the other things that go along with the music, right?
It was DJing first.
Right.
Right. But then at one point I branched off into breakdancing.
Mm-hmm.
And then breakdancing kind of fizzled out. And then I started to wonder, which is where the technology comes in at, is how do they make this beat?
Mm-hmm.
What is that called? Oh, that's a snare. That's a hi-hat.
Mm-hmm.
That's a kick drum.
Right.
This is a sample. How did they do that? How did they loop it? How did they chop that sample up? It got into that.
So technology has helped you be more creative as far as figuring out how they did all that. And then coming up with what's basically in your own head.
But then sometimes it gets to the point where it's like, you can be so technology driven that it pulls away from your creativity, if that makes sense. Hey?
Because you're trying to be perfect with the technology?
Not perfect, but there's a learning curve. Like you hear me say it, like right now we're using a P8. Mm-hmm. Right? Before that, we were using a P4.
Right.
Well, the jump from, how long was it before I used the P8 and we kept using the P4? You remember?
It's about 3 weeks or so,
It was a little time.
Yeah.
But then we also got the L8 sitting behind us.
Right.
We did one on there.
Right.
Right? So it depends on the equipment, but my love for, I figured that out. Mm-hmm. The learning curves, sometimes it slows down the process of creating.
Okay.
Tech junkie.
Tech junkie. That's
junkie.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what's your new piece of tech you just got?
Not yet.
Not yet?
No,
We're not going to talk about it yet?
Okay, MPC 1.
Because I don't know why you say not yet when you already done posted a picture of it.
Yeah, you know, I'm vain like that. But keep in mind, I'm not putting it up there to make someone feel a certain way or saying, I got this. I am truly, totally excited that if someone just had a new child. Like, yo.
I know. I seen it.
Right.
I see it all the time.
But you also saw me today staring at YouTube. You was having a conversation with me, but I was totally zoned out.
Yeah, I realized that.
I'm like, how do they do this?
Yeah. Because
technology again, go back to the 90s, I bought my first MPC back there. Mm-hmm. I tell you a funny story. I went to Sam Ash, 48th Street, Manhattan. I went there and I'm like, okay, so this is what they make beats on. Mm-hmm. How much does that cost? And the guy said $1,400. Really? So then he says, that's for the bass, but if you want to get it with 8 outputs, so you can separate your kick, your snare, going into a recording studio or whatever, that's going to cost you close to $2,000.
Right.
So I said, I got the money, and I came back with $1,400. I got the base model.
Right.
I got on a train, because I took the train down there. It's really hard to park on 48th Street. I took the train down there. I got it. The guy told me, he said, yo, you're going to need cords. You're going to need 1/4-inch connection cables. And for me, at that time, quarter what?
Right.
Because all I know is RCA jack.
Right.
And I'm like, oh my God. Like, I don't, but anyway, I bought that, which almost dipped into my money to get back home, but I got it. So I remember getting back to the house. I sat down in the living room. I took that MPC, it's called MPC 2000, out of the box, and I sat in the love seat with it on my lap, with it plugged in,
Right.
hitting the pads going. There's no mother sounds on this thing.
That's where Steve D come in, right?
That's where Steve came in at,
Yeah.
right? And I was like, there's no sounds on this. I like to use Kool Moe Dee's song, Go See the Doctor. That song was loud in my head going, what have I done stuck my in?
Right.
It's like, whoa. No sounds. Terrified. I just spent $1,400 and I have no way. I didn't know how to sample into the unit, how to make drum patterns, how to sequence, how to make programs rather, how to sequence, how to save it. What do I save it on? Floppy disk. I don't have floppy disk. Can you imagine that feeling?
Yeah, because I'll be like, I just wasted my money.
Yeah, I felt like I was out in the middle of the ocean with a raft.
And no power.
Right, which forced me to ask or talk to Steve, like, hey, how you do this? And he showed me. But, you know, technology, man.
Technology.
So I was so down and depressed at that point.
I can imagine.
But after talking to Steve, he showed me, hey, man, this is how you make a program. You got to save this and you got to save this. You got to do this. It felt like I was accomplishing something.
Right.
I was accomplishing, that's how you say it, accomplishing something. And it made me feel good. It made me wake up early in the morning. It made me look forward to going to work.
Right.
Technology. It's always been like that for me.
Go to work so you can come back and jump on it.
Yeah, because at that point, Darrell was born in 97. Before Darrell was born, a long time afterwards, I would go to work, come home, do what I got to do. And then once everybody goes to sleep, I would sit up all night with headphones on, making beats.
Right.
Technology.
Right.
I don't know. When I think about it, suppose it was learn how to play a guitar and also learn how to like play a drum. I don't consider that technology. You know, musician thing. I don't consider that, you know, technology. I don't know if I would have been as into that.
Right.
But if a new piece of equipment came out that can enhance what I'm doing, I'm on it. Right.
And that's basically what technology is, like you said.
Right. It can enhance.
It enhances.
Right. I mean, even with Barry, you know, on Sundays, we would always go to Comp USA. Remember Comp USA?
Yeah, I remember Comp USA.
Circuit City.
I used to have to shop there.
Circuit City. I don't think Best Buy was popping like that.
No. Radio Shack.
Radio
back
Shack.
then.
But then, Radio Shack. But I only went to Radio Shack for, what's that behind on the door?
Wires.
They had every wire with every connection. So I was always there for that. And then Circuit City, it was always something. DVDs, I got so lost into DVDs, CDs. What's the other one? Video CDs, VCDs, video CDs. And then there was a VC, the quality of a video CD was that of a VHS tape. And then they came out with another one that was a higher rate where it was a little bit clearer. And then I got into Disc Juggler. I'm just going to run through them real fast. I got into Disc Juggler. And then from there, I was able to find out that's how you copy an Xbox game because they make it with a mistake. So when your CD burner tries to copy it, it says error.
Right.
I learned how to go in and pull the error off. And then I started selling games, right? So I go to, what's the name of the place? Blockbuster. Rent a game, copy it, take it back.
Right.
And then instead of this guy paying $60 for the game, you can get it from me for $20.
Right. But that stuff didn't come along till the early 2000s, late 90s.
For some.
Well, for me.
Yeah. You know, so loading a game up, loading a game's hard drive up, a game system's hard drive up with a bunch of games. I was doing that early. You know, using emulator packs. It was all technology for me.
Right. Because you're a tech junkie.
Right.
Yeah.
Or the Nextel. Like I was, as far as I know, I was one of the ones that could put my own ringtone on it. The first one I did was for the Rouse mother, and she wanted the R. Kelly song on there. You remember the song where he says her name was Darlene, she drive a Durango?
No, I don't remember, but okay.
Well, she wanted me to chop that up. So that's where the music production, able to chop it up and make a loop out of it. Then the other side of the technology allowed me to put it on the phone.
Right.
It was like, yeah. So that's what I always did.
Right.
And I needed those things to keep it moving.
Right.
To, you know, to feel like something. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're looking at me like I'm crazy.
No, I'm looking at you because you're like super excited. I see it in your eyes and your movements and everything.
Yeah? Well, my neck hurting.
Okay. Well, I'm just trying to say that technology.
Animated.
Yeah,
Right.
That's your thing.
So, you know, that's what I always did. And then Barry was no help because he was the same way.
Right.
And Steve was the same way.
It's always good to have friends that share the same passion that you do.
Oh, man. Me and Steve used to go to places like we would look at like, I got to use names here. So Roland came out with a tabletop recorder called the 880, 1680, and the 840. Steve got the 880 and I had the 840. We would actually like, everybody settled down in the house about 10 o'clock. Me and Steve would get on the phone like 10:30. The sun is coming up.
Right.
And we still like, yo, how you do this? Yo, you read the manual? You know, it was crazy. And Barry's the same way, but not as technical as Steve. Barry's more so like, Barry's lane was more MP3 players, computers, buying computers, small gadget electronics, right? And to rehash what I said on another podcast, that's where Biz Markie came in at. Because he would come over like, yo, I got this new MP3 player by this company called Arcos. Right. And I'm sitting there going, got him. I already got that, bro. Right. So if they put one out, I got it. And then that translated, that migrated into tablets. They weren't really tablets then. They were just bigger screens. You know, I remember getting into an argument with Barry, like, because I see you have one, which is, why are you traveling and you have this portable DVD player? Right. That's dead, bro. Right. Why not get one of these, go on your computer, download a DivX, and you can have like, on your hard drive, you can have maybe 10 movies. See, I didn't know anything about nothing like that. I think I had about 3 or 4 portable DVD players for the kids. And then you have to have more than one because they start fighting over who wants to watch what movie and everything. But it was just crazy. Right. So as far as tech goes, you know that I was just tech ignorant. Okay. When you came here. Okay. But now I'm like, I'm not gonna say I'd be as excited as you. Right. But I'd be like, oh, okay, we gonna get this and we gonna get that. You know, because we got Google all over the house and our hubs and our Nest. Right. And is Google set up in here? Yep. Google over there. I'm surprised it didn't say anything. I done said Google 3 times already. Ask Google today's date. Hey, Google. What is today's date?
It is Sunday, October 24th, 2021.
She kicking it.
Right. So Google is everywhere. And then, you know, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing right now if you wasn't a tech junkie. But what, you know, it's lanes. There's a music and then there's entertainment, you know, and then there's that other side where it's like, okay, how can this piece of equipment make my life or living better? Which is like the Google or let's say breaking a fire stick. Or something where you can, I don't want to get into that, but you could do things that some people might consider illegal. Right. It gets, you know, crazy like that. But I think I'm a little different now.
from doing it for so long, I started to realize that technology comes out so much that they might put out 15 things, but out of 15 of them, only one caters to the way I think.
Right.
You ain't got to have it all.
Exactly.
Like phones. Ooh, we ain't touched that one. You know, phones. Like I've always been a Google phone guy from way back when they came out with the G1. Because I understood. For some reason, I like to say, I was like, what is it called when you can see the future? What's that called? I could see where the potential of something. And when it first came out, I don't know if you remember, but if you got a Google phone, you would have to, before you could use that phone, you had to get a Gmail address.
Nope, I don't know nothing about that.
And they like kind of force you to use Gmail with their phone, so you apply for it. Then when you get the phone asks you right off the rip, what's your email address? Smart. But I saw the way that they could create an ecosystem between mail, music, video. They did it.
Right.
And this is what we use now.
Right.
But when I first saw that, I was fascinated with it. So I've had a bunch of Nexuses, the Nexus lines, and a bunch of them.
So before you,
Right.
a cell phone was a cell phone for me.
Right.
Wasn't trying to, I don't even know what I was trying to do. I just needed something to talk on and send text messages.
And send text messages.
And sometimes take pictures.
See, I of course, I wasn't like that.
Right.
By my last encounter, well, technically we're AT&T right now. But prior, I don't know if you remember Singular.
I remember Singular.
I pissed them off so bad because I figured out how to take my internet access from my phone. This is before everybody's talking hotspot. And use it with my laptop. And, at the time I'm doing a lot of traveling between Boston, Philadelphia, Connecticut. I'm going back and forth doing my job, and I pull over at a rest stop and go on the internet, and go on this site called Black Girl Online, which is, it may sound cheesy, but it's because any software I could get it there. And I'm downloading all this stuff, and my bill came from Singular, and it was a couple of $1,000.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, yo, I called him and I'm like, yo, why I paid for the internet? Why is it a couple of $1,000? And this is what I learned, where packet size matter. So they can tell whether you're using a computer versus you're just looking at stuff on the phone. Once they detected that I was using the computer, tethering my laptop to the phone, they charged me heavy.
Wow.
So I called Singular and I'm arguing with them, and I told them, there's nothing in your guidelines or rules or whatever that says you cannot do that.
Right.
I was right.
You're probably the reason why they changed everything.
And then I don't know about that. But all I'm saying is they said, okay, this is what we're gonna do. $800. We charge you $800. We'll eat the rest of it. Okay. I paid it. Next month, did it again. But this time, I didn't pay him. So when Singular went out of business, I was like, because I ain't paying y'all nothing. But that's the way it was. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I'm pushing for that type of stuff, I remember downloading around 98, 99, 98, somewhere around there. I got my internet access at the house, right? And I was on this mission. I had a ton of records, but I don't consider that technology, so I'm not going to talk about that. But I had a ton of records, and I need to get all these records in the MP3 format.
Right.
So, of course, there was Napster, there was BearShare, there was SoulSeek, there was LimeWire.
I remember LimeWire.
Right. So I'm going through all that. But, and some kids might not understand this pain, but to download one MP3, that's only about 3 megabytes, you might as well get up, go to the store, get something to eat.
Oh, yeah, all that.
Because we doing it on a modem.
Right.
On a dial. It was
I
a dial-up.
remember that dial-up modem, yeah.
But that black hard drive that I have upstairs that I got from Doral all those songs is from that period. So how
Wow.
much time do you think? There's everything.
A lot.
Like if I could say, what were the top 50 songs in 1987? It's on there.
Mm-hmm.
Or in the pop category, what were the top songs in 82? It's on there. I mean, you heard it.
Right.
It's on there. So it's like, is that technology? I don't know. But
Well, yeah, it's technology because you were able to. You said you was transferring all your songs to an MP3 format.
I was downloading them.
Downloading them. Okay.
Yeah. So
Well,
you know,
yeah, because when were you able to do that before?
never.
You know,
Right.
like I can go on this internet
Right.
and download music and make my own playlist or, you know,
I mean,
tapes or what have you.
It happened for me on a New Year's.
Mm-hmm.
Never forget it. It's New Year's Eve. Darrell's moms was cleaning the house. You know how people had those rituals
Mm-hmm.
where they clean the house and stuff. And I'm sitting in front of the computer. I hadn't too long had the computer.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to find out where I get SoundForge. I know you don't know. That's a wave editor where you can edit your songs or your sounds for making beats with this stuff. And I'm like, man, I can't find this stuff nowhere. And someone messaged me. I don't know why this lady did it. She told me she was in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
And back then, a lot of the messaging was backdoor stuff. It wasn't like, I talked to you on AIM. Not that. We're not talking. We talking about that underground backdoor stuff. I forgot the name of the software. I want to say Nuclear Winter, but it is what it is.
Yep.
And I was like, man, I'm looking for this. I'm looking for that. And she hit me with I can feel it coming through the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my brother, relax. Go to Napster. And instead of typing in the song you're looking for, you type in Rapster, WRAPSTER.
Mm-hmm.
So any software that you want is going to be in there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's using Rapster. I'm like, well, what is Rapster? She said, do you know what WinZip is? I said, yeah. And she goes, Rapster is another compression algorithm that can take something that's 500 megabytes and make it 10 megabytes. That way you can download it faster.
Right.
But you have to have the Rapster's decompression tool to when you download it to open it up and install it. Wow. She opened up everything.
A whole new world, huh?
What? if I saw a computer that I really wanted to not a computer, software that I really wanted to use and add it to the mix to enhance, I'm getting it.
Wow. Okay.
So I went a lot of years without paying for software. I know this is totally bootleg right now, but it is what it is, you know. So you might wonder, and then I'm going to let you talk a little bit so we can get out of here.
I don't have anything to talk about.
But
this is all about you.
But if you notice, we never just about every computer we have here, and most of all the equipment is used. Or have you noticed that? Most of it.
Just the laptops mainly.
But those are the brains.
Right.
That's the main thing.
Just the laptops because your controllers are brand new.
The question is why use stuff?
Because you know how to.
Exactly.
Right.
I've had so many failures.
Right.
That I'm not afraid. Like if someone says, I had this laptop for 3 years, but it's an i7. It has 16 gigs of RAM, but it's not acting right. And I look at the price and I go, what do I have to do to make this work? A little headache here. Yeah. Hard drive going to cost me this. All right, give it to me.
Right.
I don't be tripping on that because I've had so many failures and got my ass whipped so many times with technology stuff that I'm not afraid.
Right. And you know what to do to make it work.
Most times.
Yeah, so that's good.
But I don't trip if I can't make it work.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't trip or anything like that. It's just, but if I didn't have these things, I don't know who I would be. Real talk. Like, I don't know who I would be. I don't know where I would be.
Right.
You know,
because they've been your
companion.
Right.
Like
your peace.
Especially when I was living in Harlem at a certain point. If I didn't have that technology, I would probably be in prison. Mm. If I didn't have those gadgets,
right?
I can't understate this point I'm getting ready to make. Those things allowed me to escape the reality of what was going on in the moment,
right,
and go somewhere else,
right.
And there's only a few ways you can
and
escape.
Stay sane.
Drug or alcohol abuse, escape. Movies, escape. And for me, the one that I used was technology.
Right.
Some people might say a hobby or whatever, but I'm saying technology for my purpose.
Right.
For you, it's reading. I know it is. Right. I tried that, but I read differently. But you know that.
Yeah.
I read more. What do you call it?
Nonfiction.
History of this. Or mysteries of this. I don't read the fiction.
Right.
But yeah, anyway, those three things. Alcohol, drugs, I wasn't going to do. Right. Movies, I did. But movies required me to sit there and watch it and escape. I felt like I wasn't doing anything. I didn't feel like I was a part of that situation.
But with technology.
I can touch it. I can improve on it. I can learn about it. It can occupy a certain area in my mind where I'm like, driving down the street going,
and you can express.
Right. Well, yeah, that's that's a chamber of it, the expression. But at the end of the day, I had to tell myself that, hey, this is who you are. This is what you are. A lot of people won't get it.
Right.
I don't try to force it anymore. You know, at one point, and we're going to shut this thing down.
Okay.
At one point, I was upset that the phone carriers started putting out more technology-driven phones and accessories. Because to this day, I don't believe that everyone deserves a smartphone. Right?
Well, so because everybody's not smart?
I wouldn't say that.
Right.
I wouldn't say that. I'm just saying it doesn't matter to them. For
right,
instance,
like me.
Right. So it's like AT&T comes out with a new Note. Well, out of 100%.
Well, AT&T don't come out with.
I'm just making this up. Yeah, I'm just making Samsung, of course, but AT&T. The reason I use them is because AT&T are the ones that offer the payment plans and this and that and financing. So they come out with a Note 50. I'm just making this up. This thing can fry eggs. It can do everything. But between marketing and all this stuff, everybody wants it.
Right.
Who knows what Gorilla Glass is? Who knows what an IP69 rating is?
Right.
Who knows that?
I don't.
How much RAM? You have a Pixel right here in front of you. How much RAM is in that?
I don't know.
And I'm not picking on you. I'm just saying it doesn't matter to most people. But they'll go and get that phone and use 50% of what it's capable of doing.
Right, like I was doing before you came here. I mean, just tell the truth.
Right.
I'm one of those people that don't deserve a smartphone because when you came here, the only thing I was using my phone for, like I said, make phone calls, text messages, take pictures, and go on social media.
Right.
And all the other stuff that the phone could do, whatever, I didn't know.
Right.
And I still don't know everything.
I mean, connecting things like contacts, appointments. I mean, just connecting those things and learning how to use a phone.
Because what I be asking you?
What?
Every time something be crazy on this phone, what I be like, baby, what?
Right.
What I gotta do?
But that's cool.
Right.
But you don't claim it. Now,
no.
Now follow me careful with this. There are people out there that will actually come to a person like myself and they'll say, you don't know nothing about this.
Right.
And I'm saying, because you got an iPhone?
Exactly.
You only got an iPhone because they told you it was dope.
Right.
But you don't know what it's actually capable of doing. Like Doral has an iPhone, right? Doral will shoot a whole movie on that joint.
Right.
Crystal clear, make it look like someone's holding a handheld camera.
Right. But he knows what it's capable of.
Right. Well, he has no choice.
Like when you were telling me
you know
about.
What I said?
Yeah. I know. Like I didn't know what pure Android meant until you told me.
Versus a bloated Android.
Right.
Like Samsung is
That
not
has all
pure.
the bloatware and
Yeah,
stuff.
Samsung is not pure Android.
Right.
You know, and that's why we have two
Pixels.
sitting on the table, because it's the pure Android experience.
Right.
Now that might not mean anything to anybody else, and that's fine. No more days of me going, man, you don't understand. You don't. I'm not doing that no more.
Right.
Right. I've seen people have $2,000 phones, Zaris. His phone is up there, but his intellectual understanding of what the phone does not meet it.
Right.
So it's not needed.
Right.
Right. Dude, you need to get a simpler phone. And once you learn more things, because right now, how many times have you known people to have phones and then they'll come to you and say, it's slowing down, it ain't working.
Yeah, me.
Nah, you ain't do it like that. Your aunt did it like that. When she came in the room and was like, yo, and then we look at it, you have no more room.
Right.
That's like a person, you eat so much food until the food is up to your esophagus. And you up here complaining about, why am I so sluggish? What? I can't eat.
Exactly.
Like, dog, you didn't get that out your system.
Right. You need to clean it.
Defragmenting and doing all this and all that.
Yeah.
Nobody does that.
Yeah.
So phone companies are smart. They know the average person is going to hold that phone for a year or so.
And get rid of it.
Which is why they got the plans now where it's like, yo, after a year, you could trade your phone in. They know, because they know people not taking care of it like that, because it's starting to become disposable technology, which I am not a fan of. That's a whole nother subject.
Okay.
But smartwatches, I love them. But the way my mind thinks, they haven't put one out to meet the way my mind thinks.
Right.
So I kept it simple.
Right.
Steps, this, that. I keep it simple. Glasses. These are my wish lists. The glasses, Google Glasses. They had a strong campaign for it called Google Glass a couple of years ago, but it never came out because of an invasion of privacy situations where facial recognition. Can you imagine that in glasses?
That's just too much for me.
Right.
I would be distracted.
But do you see how dangerous that can be? Like, I'm looking at you. I don't know anything about you. But if I look at you and the facial recognition in my glasses can find you on the internet, all in a split second. Now, there you are standing in front of me, but in my glasses, I'm on your Facebook page, I'm on your Instagram page,
That's
and
just
any
too much.
information out there about you.
That's too much.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
And plus adding the hearing technology, meaning we experienced it at Best Buy when remember we put the glasses on and the music was playing. There's no speaker in your ear,
Right.
but the music is boom, boom. It's
But
there.
it sounds like it's
Right,
in your
because
ear.
it's coming through your bone, which is what astronauts and stuff were using. So
That's just too much for me.
yeah, so
I don't need all that.
it's dope. Like
I don't even know why the average person would need all that.
Okay.
I mean, you know, I'm simple.
No, well, I'm saying I'm thinking I could go on and on about this. We at an hour 15 right now, so I'm going to pull it back. But
Okay.
I'm going to end it with this. There's a guy called Dr. Kaku. He's a string theory physicist, considered one of the smartest guys in the world. You know,
String theory, like the another life, cosmic string stuff.
yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So I'm really into that too. So he explained something in one of his books where he's talking about civilizations. And me and you talked about it before. There's a class 0, there's a 1, there's a 2, and there's a 3. 4 type of civilizations, right?
Right.
So a 0 civilization is what we are right now. Everything depends on something dead.
Okay.
Gasoline, fossil fuel, this and that. Okay. But the next level, which is level 1, we would be getting from something alive. I'm kind of breaking it down in simpler terms, but we'd be able to harness the use of atoms. Can you imagine having a phone you never have to charge?
Nope.
Or can you imagine having a car that you never had to gas up?
That would be wonderful.
That would be level 1.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to do that, it's a big jump from 0 to 1
Mm-hmm.
because you got to play with some things that'll kill you.
Mm.
So his belief is that this world has reset
Mm-hmm.
quite a few times. It was a jump from this technology to that technology.
Mm-hmm.
Other things come into play. Greed, this, that,
Mm-hmm.
but greed is the main thing.
Mm-hmm.
Power, right? And you destroy people.
Right.
Because if we actually started to get the understanding of antimatter, the first people that's going to play around with it is the military.
Mm-hmm.
You follow what I'm saying? I don't want to go too deep into that, but sometimes it can be harmful
Right.
in the hands of the wrong person.
Right.
I don't believe that.
Right.
I believe that if it's, let me rephrase that.
I was getting ready to say, you don't believe things could be harmful in the hands
I
of the wrong
believe that,
people?
but I believe that we shouldn't hesitate on things because we're afraid of things being harmful.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't think we should be. For instance, can you imagine going to Europe? And I'm taking this from Dr. Kaku's book. Can you imagine going to Rome to see the ruins, the Colosseums? Can you
Okay.
imagine going there? Would that be something you want to see?
Maybe.
Maybe. Good. Okay. How about going to Egypt and seeing Egypt in its natural form, the pyramids and the Nile,
Right. I would like to see
all
that.
the gold. But see, if you go there now, it's desert.
Mm-hmm.
With the glasses, with augmentation,
Mm-hmm.
reality augmentation, you would be able to go there, look, and your glasses would fill in what's missing.
Mm-hmm.
So you would see it like it was.
Right.
Or let's go back to me to round it off.
Mm-hmm.
8, 9 years old, I'm sitting there playing a ColecoVision or a game from Sears. But if the technology was where I'm saying it's gonna go, where it should be next, I could put on a pair of glasses now. There's augmented reality, and I'm not just playing a game. I'm actually in it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking about what people are using now, where the Oculus.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about augmented reality, where there is a person or an AI or something within this room. I still see the room, but my AI is standing right here in the corner.
Right.
Dope.
Right.
Right? Imagine that and how it would enhance the world. You don't think so?
I don't know.
I do. I think so. Or imagine how difficult it... When you were in school, you had to read and study to pass.
Mm-hmm.
Now, me having what I have, master's degree
Mm-hmm.
in instructional design, it is not about that anymore.
Right.
It's the ability to find the information.
Yeah, but sometimes I think that takes away. It's like we have all this technology.
Uh-huh.
The kids got laptops in school and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So now they don't know how to find something in the book. They don't know how to pick up a book and look for it for
But
themselves.
why should they?
Because you still need the basics.
You still need the
Because
basics.
what happens when technology fail? So
Right.
it's like being in the military. I was a supply person, right?
Mhm.
When I first joined, went active in 92, we did everything by hand. Hand receipts, we're typing the stuff up. Things, we're looking microfiche. I don't know if
Right.
you remember that.
Mhm.
We're doing things like that.
Right.
Everything is, we putting in our inventory numbers and everything by hand. That's the way we did it. And then about, I'm going to say 96, 97, then everything started being computerized or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
We start using different systems and everything. But then when the system went down, you don't have access to the information anymore. And because it's all on this system, because technology has done whatever, now it's like, well, how many pallets of, paper towels, just
Right,
for an
right.
example, how many
Because
did we order?
if I
So
may-
now I got to go, instead of, where I have it written down on a sheet of paper that I can go to a file cabinet and pull out, now I got to look in the computer and now the system is down so I can't get that number. So now I'm like, oh, well, sir, I don't know how many we have.
If I may, at that point, we lack proper backups. We lack proper energy sources. to keep things right now. It's a different monster. It's a different monster. But with that being said, I understand what you're saying, but I'm saying the way that education is driven now is technology driven.
It is.
Right. So
these children, some of them don't even know how to write correctly because they so used to typing.
Right. I'll tell you what.
Everything can't be typed.
I tell you what. I got one for you that sneaks in on us, and we find ourselves changing with the time. How many phone numbers you know right on top of your head outside of your kids?
Yours.
That's it.
Yep.
When back in the day at 18, 17, 18, we probably had everybody's number in our head or written down somewhere.
Right.
Now?
Nope.
So you trust technology enough to put it on your phone and don't remember it.
Right. But that's crazy because when my phone is not working, I don't have my phone.
You're stuck.
I'm stuck.
You're stuck. What about communications? If you want to reach out to somebody. You see, back in the day, if you call someone and the line was busy, you like, they on the phone. If you call somebody and they don't answer the phone, they're out. Because once a person leaves that landline in the house, good luck.
Right.
But nowadays, but nowadays, if you call somebody and don't answer the phone, the first thing you say is, oh, they ain't calling me back. They ain't answering the phone. I know they seen my phone call. Right? If you text somebody and they don't answer, nowadays you can't get away because if they see it, it says red on the phone. Right? Or if you go on social media, say you had a friend that tells you, hey, Elondious, I'm getting ready to go to bed. I'll talk to you tomorrow. And then you can't sleep, so you lay in the bed, you pick up your phone, you go on Instagram, and you see that friend that just told you they going to bed is liking pictures. Right.
So is that a good thing or a bad thing? Because
it depends.
Because now it could have just been that my friend didn't feel like talking, but she didn't want to say to me, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And she trying to spare my feelings.
When back in the day, it was easier to get away with that. But because of technology, and the point that I'm trying to make is you have jumped on and you are embracing it and you're doing it. But at some point, some people don't realize just how much they are in the 21st century.
Right.
They don't realize it.
Right. I'm not saying that, but not all technology is bad or good or what have you. I just think that sometimes people will opt out for the shortcut because of technology instead of learning the basic. Right. Because you can't build a house with no foundation. You should have a foundation.
Here's two things to grow on, right? The technology that we're using right now that's changing the world, guess who it was created by?
Who?
Us.
Okay.
I was reading a technology book and they talk about that. Everything that's happening now is what we wished for when we were kids. We are the creators of this.
You're talking about our generation.
Yes.
Okay.
The 60s, late 60s, early 70s. We're the ones that are creating it, that we are marketing it because our ideas and our imaginations were like, hey, I wish I could play a video game with someone that's in Tokyo. Online gaming. Yeah. It comes from us.
Right.
It started during our time.
Right.
Now, Dr. Kaku, we out for sure.
Okay, yeah.
0 to 1. A lot of advancements come with that. Eventually, space travel, where you won't have to use fuel. Because remember I said 1, you're dealing with matter, antimatter and stuff like that.
No, you said, okay, yeah, 1.
Number 1. Number 2 is now you're getting energy from planets, which is weird. But then number 3 is stars. You're able to harness energy from stars. So a good example is Star Trek. Because Dr. Kaku was a writer for Star Trek. So if you notice, they ain't got to go grocery shopping.
Right.
Because they can materialize their food.
Right.
And do all this stuff. That's a class 3 civilization. That's what technologists are aiming for.
Okay.
That's what they're aiming for.
And we won't see that.
We probably won't. You're talking another couple of 100 years.
Yeah.
Unless they're able to conquer. It's a joke, man.
All right.
So, hey, I guess that's it.
Yeah.
So we touched a little D Chapelle, then we slipped off into
okay, go
D
ahead.
Chapelle,
Uh-huh.
and then we slipped off into the cancel culture and maybe possibly being a little bit too aggressive in the sense of being sensitive and not really thinking about, well, I'm saying this, that there's a really true minority out here. There's a true minority out here. You worried about your sexual preference, but there's really an injustice going on with Black people. But y'all want that spotlight until the heat gets crazy. And then most of them, you know, I'm a white trans, but I ain't gonna get into that.
Right.
And then technology. We talked about technology. Where I started, my history of it, we didn't do it all, but my history of it, and where I think it should go. And I embrace it. I think, you know, it's gonna make the world better.
Okay.
I think the Homo sapien, anybody that's listening, if they listened this far, can go out and look it up. There's expected to be another type of being, which is a human being that relies totally on accessories like earpieces, phones, watches, and to the point where they're going to start to implant it in the body. Definitely, I think that could happen. But anyway, we out here.
All right.
You ain't got nothing you want to say?
Nope.
No
Because
music?
that went all over my head, so I don't even know.
Well, just think about it. I forgot the name of the what they're called, homo something. You know, like homo erectus, homo this, but the next level.
Well, I mean, I'm not talking about that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that a lot of the technology went, you know, like some of the things you said, I didn't know what you was talking about, but.
Well, let's say this and then we out.
Okay.
Imagine if they tell you can live another 50 years by using an electronic heart. Would you do it?
Yep.
Technology wins. We out.
21 Talk. You can say what you want to say.
Elondious. Got to be more careful.